Okay. Uh, Here is as I the information because this is with Fox 5 in Atlanta. The information will be in my description. Let me just I don't think they're saying anything because it's not muted or anything. Um, just give me 1 second to try to get everything. Okay, it's casting, but right now you don't hear anybody speaking because you can see it's not muted. Possible shooting at the Apalachee High School in Georgia. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it right. I just woke up, guys. Okay, but that's no excuse for me not pronouncing it right. And while we're at it, let me just have you all to go ahead and do one thing. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button so I can stay in the algorithm. And once you hit that like button, then I need you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. That's gonna help me, guys. I'm trying to get dressed as I do my live. Okay, so you have to excuse me. It's like I told you, I just woke up. Uh, but anyway, hit subscribe. Okay, so next time I post anything that you all you'll be aware of every time I post something, every time I do a live or anything, you will get your notification. All right. And so let me go ahead and thank you for doing that already. All right. And then also, also, since I'm going to thank you for doing that, we're going to go ahead and get on with the matter at hand. Okay. Let me take that down. This is live. So whatever's going on that you all see on your screen, that's what it's showing right now. We might switch back from different news outlets from time to time, but right now we're going to stick with this one for a little while. Yeah. Uh, Let me see how many. Let me see. Did they say it this morning? They did say how many was injured and everything. Let me just see. I'm trying to see. Uh, Y'all have to excuse me. Um, they're not reporting it now, and it's not muted, so it's not muted. Let me just see. Can I see what the other outlets are saying? Don't have my glasses on, so I can't read it as good. Um, I'm trying to see what some of the other outlets got on here, what's going on with it as well. Because I'm going to bring you the latest news. Um, Let me see. Hmm. I'm trying to see who else got this going on. Let me just go back. And let me see who all is in the chat. I'm going to welcome everybody here. Oh, Queen. Thank you, Queen, for being here. Thank you so much. We're casting live from Georgia, from the school Pow Pow. I'm going to say Pow Pow because I don't want them to strike my channel. Right. I got to be saved so nobody would do anything to my channel. Okay. Um, let me see who else is showing it. I'm just trying to be safe because I can't get distracted right now. Uh, yeah, it's a pow pow. It is. It's for, okay, thank you. Because I just woke up and I just cast it when my husband told me what happened. He woke me up about 11:15 this morning, telling me it's been what's was going on the TV. There was been a pow powing at a high school, and I could not believe it. He woke me up earlier, but I fell back to sleep. He woke me up about 10, and I fell right back to sleep. That's what happens to me. I don't get up early. Okay, thank you, Queen. Thank you for letting me know. I'm just waiting to. I'm on my second channel. I'm not on my main channel. That's why people don't. A lot of people still don't know that Pink Global is my second channel. I'm trying to cast it on my second channel instead of my main channel this morning. If I was on my main channel, Pinkie the Housewife, it'll be full right now. Uh, Let me see. I'm still getting dressed as we are talking right now. Um, so we have, thank you, Queen. Queen says we have 4 unalive, I mean, 2 unalive and 4 injured. That looks like it's a pretty big school. Did they, since I just woke up, let me, hmm, am I talking, hmm. Okay, let me see. Okay. Thank you, Queen, for being here. Not everybody knows this. All my subscribers and members, they don't. I'm just trying to get this channel monetized. That's why I'm on this one here. We're almost there though, but let me just see. Uh, Still underway. Okay, it is. It's still under the way. Sizzling Bonnie, thank you for being here this morning as well. We're trying to get the updates and the news that's going on in this school pow pow in Georgia. Let me see. I may have to switch it out and go with another news outlet. Let me just see. We'll see. Mm-mm. This is ABC News here. Let me just. Okay, I'm trying. Let me see. You can't just go to sleep and think you're gonna wake up these days. You wake up to all kind of mess. Ooh. Um, Thank you, Nathan, for being in here. Thank you, guys. Make sure you all hit the like and subscribe button coming in. Can you all just at least do that for me? Hit the like and subscribe button coming in. I would truly appreciate it. Oh, they getting ready to do a news conference. I'm getting ready to turn it over, switch. They're getting ready to do a news conference. So I'm gonna switch it out right quick. Okay. Let me just go ahead and switch it out. You can tell I haven't had my coffee. It's sitting here, so it's just making me I'm not functioning right. Is this it? Yes, this is it. This is with CBS News. This is with CBS News. All of that information will be down in my description. Okay, guys? I guess they're getting ready. Let me make sure that we can hear them. Okay, this is CBS News. They're talking, but it's not making a sound. What is going on here?
Schools.
Okay, here it is.
First and foremost, I want to lift up our community. I want to give our sympathies to our community, our school system, our kids.
I'm going to mute so they can talk. Okay, guys?
Had to witness this today. Obviously, what you see behind us is an evil thing today. At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today. As you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Barrow County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute is developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries. I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions this time, okay? Thank you.
All right, so as these things go, we are hearing just a little bit more information. That sheriff saying he's not going to release any more information, but CBS News, through 2 law enforcement sources, has been able to confirm 2 dead, 4 injured. Let's listen into the next person stepping to the mic.
Following us on Twitter, X, make sure you're following us. We'll be providing updates then. I know there are a lot of details, investigative details. You want more information. That is what the investigators are actively working on right now. You can add.
Yeah, so the idea will be to be back here at 4 o'clock, but keep an eye on our social media. If that changes, you'll know it. We'll be able to address, hopefully answer more questions for you, okay? Or be in a position to give you more answers. We'll just have to see how things
We
go.
just realized this was happening. Tell us how many people, what you know about that.
We're not in any kind of position. The sheriff's made his comments. We'll leave it at that. By 4 o'clock, we hope to have a better picture, a bigger, so you can better comprehend what's going on. Okay, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so you are seeing a measured response by officials there outside of Apalachee High School right now. And that's how often these things go. They go out and they want to let the public know just what they are able to say, but they have to be very careful about what they say and when they say it. They said they do not want to get this wrong. However, this stuck out to me, and I'm sure it stuck out to you watching right now on the stream. That sheriff calling what happened there at Apalachee High School an evil thing. He said what happened and why it happened will take many days to figure out. So once again, a shooting at Apalachee High School, Winder, Georgia. This is a small community, but a large high school. 1,900 students inside that high school went to school this morning, all of them expecting a good day at school. That good day ended around 10:23 a.m. when the first calls for help, Georgia time, came in, and then all of that huge police response that happened. So right now, when you think about it, there are students and teachers who are getting word right now that someone who shared those halls, more than one someone who shared those halls, have lost their lives or are in the hospital fighting for their lives in a trauma center, we understand. Some taken by ambulance, others rushed to the hospital by helicopter right off of that football field that you saw there outside of Apalachee High School. And so now it begins the effort of finding out their conditions, but also finding out what the motive is. And when you look at a large crime scene like this, and that is what this high school is at this hour, it is an active crime scene. That means that law enforcement have to draw a circle around it and they have to protect the evidence that's on the inside of that. We do know one person is in custody. That person.
Okay, guys, I'm not sure what's going on that. Let me just, okay, here it is. I'm going to cast it back. For some reason, it just fell off. I'm bringing it back up. Okay, here it is.
That good day ended around 10:23 a.m. when the first calls for help, Georgia time, came in, and then all of that huge police response that happened. So right now, when you think about it, there are students and teachers who are getting word right now that someone who shared those halls, more than one someone who shared those halls,
Hi, Black
lost their
Titanic.
lives or are in the hospital.
Thank you for being here, Black Titanic. Can't come up, but in the chat at the doctor's. Thank you. Thank you so much. Pink Global. Thank you. S&C, Jesus Praying. Thank you guys for coming on in. Yes, this is live right now. So I'm casting live from the news, different news outlets showing the shooting. The school pow, where they have, I think, 2 unalive and 4 injuries in the school pow. So let me just finish bringing the news to y'all, but I'm so glad to have y'all here. This is in Atlanta, Apalachee, Atlanta. I hope I pronounced that right. Y'all know I haven't had my coffee. Oh, wow. That's down the street from me, Pinky. Oh, my God. It is? Oh, I didn't know that. This high school is down the street. I'm going to cast him back. He's still talking. Let me bring him this. Let me cast it back. He had started back talking. The reporter. He's still talking about the what's going on at the school. How do I have 3 of me up right now? I don't know how that happened. Y'all see that? Thank you so much. I don't know how that happened. I'm going to try to figure that one out. Oh, I see. Oh, I see how it happened. Okay. I got more of me than I need to be up there. Okay. Here it is right here. This is with CBS News. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one here. And then do it over. That's okay, guys. Y'all got to remember. Pinkie just woke up. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Thank you. I'm so nervous. Got to call some of my people to see if all is well. Okay, yeah, you go ahead and call some of your people, Black Titanic, since that school is down the street from you, and some of your people, some of your kids go to that school. Go ahead and make that phone call, and let's pray that everybody is well. The poor children, yeah, can't come. Okay, I understand that. And I just cast it on Pinkie the Housewife too. So just in case, I just added it, Pinkie the Housewife to this live. Make sure y'all hit that like button coming in. Let me see what else he said. Jesus praying. Oh, yes. Oh, let's see what else. What is it? How did that pop up? All I'm trying to do is hit the
even in a situation like this, it's something critical that a lot of officers haven't experienced. And now remember, think about it. These officers also have suffered a traumatic, experience that they're going to have to carry for the rest of their careers. And this might even affect the officers that responded. Also, think about the EMS personnel that are seeing things like this, the fire departments. All first responders are actually affected. And we look forward, and we need the help of, state and federal, because they do have these specialized tools. The ATF is able to quickly, ascertain the background of the firearms, which does help tremendously in the investigations, see if these firearms are purchased legally, illegally, and who we could go after in the investigation of criminal charges, need to be brought about.
Thank you for being here.
So it's important to bring in these teams and work together.
Thank you for being here this morning. We are casting live from a live pow in Apalachee, Georgia. This is live. I'm casting the news outlets that's going live. So we got a live going on in my live. Okay. Thank you for being here. Make sure everybody hit that like button coming in. All right. Thank you, Sonny Bunny, for praying for the all the ones involved, all the ones that lost their life and the ones that's injured in the families. You all can see it right now. They got 2 unalive, multiple injuries in injury in the high school pow and Winder, Georgia. I hope I pronounced that right. We're just going to leave it. Okay. Let me get the no.
From there, they were able to get the wounded out to ambulances and onto those helicopters, while at the same time, that huge effort of getting students out to a large football field. We've seen that large football field in helicopter video in recent moments. That is the place where parents have been told they can reunify with their students. We also understand that the wounded were taken to a trauma center, and that private pickup is now available for students. Let's listen in to a young person who's now talking to one of our CBS partners.
Like 3 hours.
What went through your mind waiting out there, not knowing what was going on?
I was like a little scared. I was trying to make sure all my friends were okay because I heard like they got shot. But I mean,
we just learned from the sheriff's office that 2 people died in this and that several others were injured. When you heard that, what went through your mind?
It was sad because I know I go to school here. That could have been one of my friends I don't know of and stuff. It sucked really bad.
We hear about these happening. For this to happen at your school, it's everyone's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. I thought it was just in like movies and stuff like that or something. I never thought it'd be at my school.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm perfect.
Yeah. Glad to be going home.
A little bit. I wish I could have got my stuff, but it is what it is.
Thank you. Glad you're okay, and I hope all of your friends are okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you. Y'all be safe.
Kids
All
these
right,
days don't
so
know
our
what to do
local
without
partners
their
there
stuff,
just
like their
gathering the
cell phone
accounts
and
of
stuff and
students on the
tablets.
inside of that high school. That student now walking on
When
foot
you're
to go
running for
home.
your life,
Glad
you
to be
push
alive.
that to the
And,
side.
you know, when we just stop for a second, we realize, you know, it's easy for us in the news business to give you numbers and police procedure, but it's also very important that we just stop and remember that there are real people involved in this story, families who are on the run to get to the high school, students like that who are walking home shaking. Everybody involved in this story is somebody's somebody. And so our local partners there with CBS know that they are on the ground there. They are talking and getting those real life accounts. Let's go back to some of their coverage in real time.
Watching as this has developed throughout the day since this happened. Again, they said they got the call about an active shooter at this Apalachee high school around 9:30 in the morning. It's 1:30 right now, and there are still parents who are there trying to get together with their kids, hoping their kids are not one of these victims. Multiple victims involved. We do not know the names or the ages or the grades right now. One suspect is in custody. We don't know if that's a student.
Thank you, Renita, for being in the Pink House this morning. Thank you so much for showing up. All right. I'm going to mute myself so we can hear what's going on.
Situation because they are.
Because this is live. This is not something that I'm catching after they stop the news coverage. This is live. So I'm showing a live event that's going on right now. Okay. Thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and mute so we can hear.
Accurate.
Right.
And so they did talk about another press conference coming up in about 3.5 hours, 4 p.m. It's coming up on 1:30 here. And if you're just joining us, it's been a terrible day in Barrow County at Apalachee High School, where there's been a shooting and there are multiple people who are injured. One suspect is in custody. We have law enforcement from all over the state and even federal law enforcement there on the scene, conducting an investigation into exactly what went down. You see the students there who were evacuated to the football field for safety. Right now, parents have been driving frantically to the school, to the campus, some of them having to park, though, as far away as about a mile or so, as close as they could get. Those parents then getting out of their vehicles and on foot, walking all the way to the campus for a reunion that they are hoping and praying takes place soon with their children.
Now we have team coverage today. We have reporters all around this school, so we know the moment there's a new development out there. One of them is Yasmina Alston. Yasmina, we understand you've just spoken with someone. What can you tell us?
Lana, I just had the chance to speak with a 15-year-old student at the high school. He had just gotten picked up from the football stadium. He was with his mom. He was with his sister. They were all understandably shaken up by what happened, but he did walk us through what happened inside of the school. He says they heard the gunshots in the classroom. He tells me that his teacher immediately closed the door, locked the door, had them hunker down. They had no idea what was happening, but he says they immediately jumped into action to get into that lockdown position. I asked him what went through his mind during that time, and his main concern was, are his friends okay? Are his classmates okay? Because there were so little answers coming into the classroom. Of course, at that time when they were still on lockdown, he was concerned about his friends. He was concerned about his classmates. He said the gunshots sounded very close to the classroom that they were in. He tells me that, you know, the entire time that they were in the football stadium waiting to get picked up and waiting to get any answers, they were sad. I mean, they were disturbed by what happened. And he says, you know, you hear about this happening in other places. He never imagined that this would be happening at his school, that this would be happening, and you know, that his classmates would have to go into a lockdown, that they would be experiencing an active shooting situation. He says it's something they've talked about in the classroom before, but never did he imagine that something like this would actually happen. He says those hours waiting in the football stadium to be picked up by his parents, he says those were some of the longest hours that he's experienced, because he just didn't know. When he heard about, the two fatalities, he has so many questions. He wants to know, who are they, and are his friends okay? Are his classmates okay? He told us that he's very happy to have the chance to go home now. His mom also, very shaken up by what happened, but also relieved that she was able to get her son.
Yasmina, very quickly, can you just give us a quick look at the scene around you? We can see you're in front of the school. I can see the school sign there behind you. Are parents coming there? Is that road still blocked off? What's the scene there behind you?
Yeah, so the road is still blocked off. They're letting select people come through down this road. We've, of course, still seen a lot of law enforcement coming down here, getting closer to the high school. We're actually in front of the middle school here, and they're also on lockdown. We've had a lot of parents who've been coming here hoping to get their child, but one person did tell us that that would probably be another hour or so before they were able to get anyone out of the middle school. We have seen tons of families making this walk, many walking at least a mile to try to get as close as possible to the high school to get their children and to get their loved ones. So it is still very active over here as well, but there is a law enforcement presence at the end of the road, and they are directing who is able to come down here and get closer to the high school. And you can see off in the distance there all of the people that are
you
either
are
making the
watching
walk
CBS
away
News
from the school
24/7
or
continuing
trying to get
coverage, acquisitioning the force of our CBS partners there in Georgia to tell the story. Parents walking for a mile or more to get to their students, not knowing where their students are, the condition of their students. You also heard one student's account there saying he was glad to get the opportunity to go home. 2 students will never get that opportunity again, according to 2 law enforcement officials. 4 others are fighting for their lives in a trauma center there in Georgia, just about an hour outside of Atlanta. So let's bring in former FBI Executive Assistant Director Josh School. Josh, horrible day in America. We're now seeing it once again. That high school now a crime scene.
It is a horrible day, and it's unfortunate that with every start of the school year that we are going to endure this as a society and see this happen repeatedly. It's horrible, and I feel for the families.
So as we await word on who the victims are and their individual stories, and as we await word on what no doubt first responders and trauma nurses are dealing with helping the 4 students that were taken by ambulance and by helicopter to hospitals, in your experience as a former FBI Executive Assistant Director, what is happening there on the ground with law enforcement?
So law enforcement needs to ensure that the scene is safe, first and foremost. Before anything else, they need to make sure that there's no additional shooters, even though there's no reporting of an additional shooter, they still need to make sure that's happening. They want to make sure that they've recovered all of the victims. So initial reports are always wrong, and so they need to clear that school for additional threat and to make sure there's no additional victims. And while the families are walking a long distance to be reunited with their children, which is unfortunate, it is essential that law enforcement have a logical, orderly reunification policy, and that they maintain that the roads are open to get emergency personnel in and out of the scene.
I often think about families who are there at that football field at the reunification center, and as they watch child after child be released to the parents, you've got to think that in that crowd are the parents who belong to the students who are wounded or the people who are killed. At what point did those parents learn about the fate of their students, or will this just be a long, horrible, agonizing day waiting?
Well, as soon as they got a report that there was an active shooter at this
I'm not sure what happened. It just stopped. I'll get it back up. If this is a live coming from Georgia, where there has been a school shooting, and I was casting, but for some reason it's just stopped on its own. So I'm going to try to get it back up. Okay, and let me I think I got it. Let me just see.
from that scene. Dave, nobody better to take us through the scene and to set the scene. What are you seeing there? And
okay, thank you for being here. This is so sad, Miss Pinky. It is. Thank you for being here in the Pink House. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you so much for coming into the Pink House. I know it's early this morning, but we got a shooting, a pow going on in Georgia, Apalachee, Georgia, okay, at a high school. All right. So thank you all for being here and coming in. Make sure everybody hit that like button coming in. Okay, wait. We got Iman's coming in. This is so sad, Miss Pinky, and that the network specialist. Thank you for the prayers. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and
my apologies to you. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland is stepping to the mic. We anticipate he will have something to say about this as well.
We did so because countless Americans were enduring terrible threats simply for doing their civic duty. And we did so because threats to election workers constitute threats to our democracy itself. In just a few minutes, the task force here will meet to discuss its continuing work in advance of the upcoming election. But before at a high school in Winder, Georgia. We are still gathering information, but the FBI and ATF are on the scene, working with state, local, and federal partners. I'm devastated for the families who have been affected by this terrible tragedy. The Justice Department stands ready to provide any resources or support that the Winder community needs in the days ahead. Before I get to the work of the task force, I also want to announce two major law enforcement actions that the Justice Department is taking that are separate from the important work of this task force, but are part of our broader effort to protect our elections from unlawful interference.
Thank you for coming in. Good morning to you, TNT, as well.
Garland, about the shooting that took place in
This is
Georgia.
live.
We started our day here at CBS News.
This is not something that this is live coverage as we speak, okay?
That sound around for you here on CBS News 24/7 in just a little while. So while he is talking and addressing the nation about keeping our elections safe and secure, we feel it's very important to stay with that story in Georgia. Now, once again, law enforcement sources, two independent law enforcement sources confirmed 2 dead. We don't know if they're students or teachers or staff there at Apalachee High School, and 4 others fighting for their lives after a school shooting. The first calls came in around 9:30 a.m. Georgia time. And we have an opportunity now to go back to Dave Malkoff, CBS News Dave Malkoff, on the scene. Dave, before the Attorney General, before I interrupted you for the Attorney General's comments about this shooting, you were taking us through that bottleneck for parents to get there. You were mentioning that one parent said, hey, I had to walk miles, but I'd walk 10 miles to get to my student.
Yeah, speaking of that, it's hard for ambulances and first responders to get through here. We just seconds ago, while Merrick Garland was talking, we actually saw another medevac helicopter land here in the front of the school just behind me, possibly pick up somebody. Helicopter that has gone through here. CBS News has confirmed that there are 2 people who have been killed in this shooting, at least 4 people injured. As for the parents who came running from here, Atlanta is at least an hour from here, and we talked to a woman whose next door neighbor has a son in this school behind me, and he was inside the school when the shooting happened around 9:30 this morning. and he was able to get word out to his mom, but his mom was all the way in the Atlanta area. If you're familiar with Atlanta, that's in the Alpharetta area, that she was over there. It would take her forever to get here through this traffic and this lockdown. So what she did was she called her neighbor, who was about 15 minutes away. She ran about 2.5 miles to get here to hug her neighbor's child and to tell him everything's all right, your mom's on the way. And that was the moment where they connected. Then he had to go to the back of the school, Reed, where he met up with all of his fellow students who are potentially being interviewed by either in Georgia. The FBI has just arrived on scene just a few minutes ago. There is state police, there is local to solve this crime that is all too familiar here in the United States, Reed.
All too familiar, and what is also becoming all too familiar is the dual experience of kids who otherwise would be learning to read and write and do arithmetic and get ready for college, and that is the fact that they are trauma victims and also crime witnesses here in these United States. Dave Malkoff with a picture of what happened there inside the high school. I'm here, my producer telling me, where are we going, Adam? We're going to go now to the coverage of our local affiliate, WANF, out of Atlanta right now, as they look at all of the students who are gathered there outside the perimeter of that high school in that reunification area.
We've seen a number of law enforcement from multiple agencies, as we've been saying, not just local, but state and federal law enforcement as well, wearing tactical gear, many of them armed. We saw a group of law enforcement officers walking to what looked like the front entryway of the building at one point early on, getting ready to enter into a building where they might not have known exactly what kind of threat they were going to face. And so the bravery on the part of these first responders, of these members of law enforcement that put their own lives on the line in order to keep us safe and our loved ones safe, it really just must be mentioned and should not go unnoticed as we see these pictures again and the students. And you can only imagine what it was like for these kids and what it will be like for these kids who were just starting a Wednesday morning at school when all of a sudden an evil thing happened, in the words of Sheriff Judd Smith of Barrow County. An evil thing when someone came in, that person in custody, we're told, and that there are multiple injuries. CBS News reporting that 2 people have died. The sheriff telling us in a brief press conference a few moments ago that they want to make sure they get this right, and that right now the priority is reuniting students with parents, or that's, I'm sorry, one of the priorities is reuniting parents and students, and that's a bit of a chaotic situation, as you can imagine. 1,900 students enrolled in the school. That's what we've been able to find out. And so that's a lot of kids and a lot of parents and loved ones who were trying to get them back together. And the sheriff asked that the media and the public be patient as they work to get more information, to conduct this investigation, to find out the answers to these questions that we all have, which of course is, who would do this? Why would they do this? Who was injured? How serious are those injuries? And if these reports turn out to be true, that there are 2 people killed, my goodness, who are they? What were they doing at the time? You know, having covered many, many school shootings, a lot of times the people who work closest to the front entryway are among the first victims because whoever it is that comes in through the front door usually comes in ready to do damage. And I remember covering the shooting in Parkland, covering the shooting at Sandy Hook years ago, that it was the front office staff, the principal at Sandy Hook, who was shot and killed. Now, we don't know exactly who was injured or who might have been killed here today. I'm just saying that a lot of times it is those who work closest to the front entrance of a school when there's a shooting like this who are among the first victims.
And what a shame that we have perspective on this from other school shootings that we've had in our country. But, you know, we all know at this point, the collective, all of us know how these things go right now. There are many different scenarios that could have played out. We do not know if the suspect who is in custody was a student, or if this was a stranger, or if this was an employee, or if this was a former student. These are the questions that we are waiting for right now. Just a couple hours left until we are expected to be briefed again by law enforcement. They gave a very brief press conference and essentially said they know we are all waiting for information. We have been standing here live watching this happen with you for hours, waiting on information. Unfortunately, he says right now this scene is just so rapidly developing. He literally said they were finding new evidence by the minute. So there wasn't anything he could give us with concrete evidence that points to what happened here. So, you know, as we take a live look around the school, at one point it was very chaotic out there. And then at some point it shifted a bit to where you're seeing right now, where there wasn't a lot of commotion. Things seemed a bit calmer, albeit there's, you know, a lot of law enforcement presence still out there on the scene. But we don't know what's happening in the school right now. In the school, there are likely droves of law enforcement. GBI is on scene right now. FBI Atlanta is on scene right now. Multiple local law enforcement agencies, surrounding counties. We've had Atlanta and other cities say, hey, if you need any help, any assistance, we're here for you. Other school districts in our areas have said to parents, they put out a note saying, hey, we know you're watching this as well. We know you're wondering how safe your students are. And they assured parents that there are a lot of safety measures in place to prevent something so horrific. Unfortunately, somehow this has happened. And I think a lot of us have questions as to how.
We are also waiting to hear from the White House. We know that President Biden has been briefed on this. He has offered, of course, all federal resources to the teams on the ground. In fact, we have seen federal officers on the scene this morning wearing FBI marked jackets. So we know that they're there, and we know that they will play a role in this investigation. We don't know which agency will take over the lead role. A lot of times that is something that is determined between the different agencies, depending on exactly what the crime is. And so we'll learn more about that, who will be the lead investigative agency here. But we are expecting to hear from President Biden, we are expecting to hear from the White House.
Yes.
We may or may not hear from the president himself, but the White House is expected to hold some type of a press briefing very soon. So, of course, we'll bring you that as well. We think about how long these investigations can take. I mean, I'll remind everybody that it was mid-July, almost 2 months ago now, when there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and where one person was killed and several people were injured, including the former president himself. That investigation is still ongoing, and police have not been able to determine a motive in that case. Of course, the shooter in that instance was killed by law enforcement, snipers. So it's obviously the police were not able to talk with him to try to get more information on a potential motive. But again, it just gives you an idea of how long it takes sometimes to get concrete answers. We all want to know the answers immediately. But again, the sheriff said,
Guys, thank you all for still being here. As I said before, this is a live video casting live from Georgia, where a school pow happened. We have 2 unalived and multiple injuries. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you hear from them now.
It's been briefed by his Homeland Security advisor. That was earlier today. We learned this through a pool report, which went out about an hour or so ago. And the president is now meeting with his advisors and coordinating some sort of federal response. We also know, according to another pool report, that the vice president has also been briefed. There's no word as to whether or not the president will address the media. We know that the White House press briefing has been pushed back until after the 2 o'clock hour today, and perhaps we'll get some more information coming from the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre.
John, unfortunately, we have covered these situations too many times to count. And it is just unacceptable. And every time we hear from the president afterwards, and they talk about things that they would like to do, policies that they would like to put in place, legislation that they would like to introduce and get passed that might help to prevent something like this from happening again. But the sad reality is that no president has been able to come up with any kind of a magic solution to this. It just keeps happening, and it doesn't matter who's in the White House.
You're absolutely right about that. I remember being in the White House and having President Obama come out to address the press in the White House press briefing room after that shooting that occurred.
Who else is having a press conference
in
in
Connecticut?
other local
And
news?
I thought
So we
personally
can get
that was
more
the tipping
back to
point.
the,
That was the tipping point for having
what's going on
Congress
the ground
come
at the
forward with some
school.
meaningful legislation or policy proposals
Okay,
that would
let me just
certainly
check, guys.
decrease the amount of these types of episodes from happening in the future. And it didn't happen then, and it hasn't happened since. And I think that's the really frustrating thing for any leader, whether you're talking about a Democrat like President Barack Obama, a Republican like President Trump in the last administration, or President Biden right now. We are likely to hear from the vice president a little bit later today. She's in New Hampshire today campaigning, but I am certain that she will address reporters, talk to reporters about what happened in.
Okay. All right. This is still going on. You can see that it's heavily with us officers and medic is still on the scene. And then you got a lot of people over in certain areas. I'm probably sure that they're probably still over near the football stadium. Very active scene still going on. Let me see, can I get let me see. Yeah, you have to send prayers up to them, to all the families involved. Yeah.
Scenario where you thought maybe something will be done. And in fact, there was some legislation that came from.
Okay. Seems like, is that someone they trying to put on a stretcher or something? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Let me see what else is going on here. This is too much and too fresh for anybody. I just, all the parents out there, when you got a child in school and then you got all these, everything that's going on. You never know whether it's your child or somebody else's child. You be praying for everybody's kids, not just your own. This happened this morning, guys. This is a incident that happened this morning. you're sending your kids off to school and you think nothing is going to happen to them when you send them off to school and everything. And then the minute you get home or get to work, and then you find out that something did happen, and then you have to either get up, leave the house, jump back into your car, or you have to leave work, because there's no way you're going to sit at work or sit at home and just watch it on the news the way we are. You're going to get to your child. I don't care how old that child is. Your first thought is to get to your babies. They're still a baby, even in high school. I'm going to drop the link just in case if anybody have anything to say. You're welcome to come up and say anything that you want. You don't have to come up and stay. But I am just going to drop the link just in case anybody got anything. They got a press conference going on right now. Let me see what this one is all about. Let me pause.
At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter in this on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today. As you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Barrow County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well, this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute it's developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information, as you will, if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries. I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions this time, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. My name is Paul.
Let me let this ad go past first, guys. I'm trying to let this ad go past.
From the state police and from Haverhill, along with Mayor DePena and his staff from the city of Lawrence. Over the last few days, beginning on August 31st, the Lawrence Police Department had received a report of a missing person. That report was taken around mid-afternoon on August 31st, and it involved a missing person by the name of Carol Flass. Carol was reported missing. She was last seen leaving her home at 590 Broadway in Lawrence about 9 a.m. Lawrence Police Department conducted a search of her apartment and subsequently searched the building. Lawrence police officers, Lawrence detectives were later joined by detectives from the Massachusetts State Police assigned to the district attorney's office.
I'm trying to figure out what this got to do with what's going on today. But we're going to find out. Okay, so bear with me. Let me see where this is going.
Involved digital forensic evidence searches. It involved the MSP Air Wing. It involved canines. This was essentially a round-the-clock effort to try to locate Carol Foss. Information that was gathered as a result of this investigation led detectives this evening to a location in Haverhill. And in a minute, I'm going to ask Chief Pistone to describe where that location was.
Okay. I'm not sure where that's going right now. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay. Let me see whether there's any other press conference going on in respect to okay. Ooh, this is a little much, isn't it, guys? Okay, I did drop my link. If anybody want to come up and say a word or two, you do not have to say. You can just state your opinion if you want, or what's going on with your mind and how you feel about the situation, and then you can drop down, because we're not going to be sitting on here for a long time. But I did drop the link just in case if anybody want to come and say something. Now, I know this area, what the school is close to BT, Black Titanic. And, you know, Black Titanic got a lot of students and everything that she knows. But anyway, she's going to make some phone calls to see whether her people are okay. Anybody else know this area or have family members maybe that attend the school or live near the school? Miss Warren, thank you, Jacqueline Warren. Lord have mercy. Yeah, you right to say, Lord have mercy. Can we go to sleep and wake up without any CBS got something going on. Let me just see what CBS talking about here. Because I'm looking at it on my TV. That's why. I'm going to look around at CBS on my TV. They're talking about it right now. They're okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cast this right now.
To the media, but had knowledge of the situation, told me that Piedmont Regional Hospital in the Athens-Clarke County area, Trauma 1 Hospital, the largest in North Georgia, was receiving gunshot victims from this shooting scene. And we saw this all sort of unfold in front of our eyes, a very fluid scene. Students out there on the track and field at one point forming a prayer circle, it seemed, from the aerial view. We saw at least one medical helicopter transporting one victim from the scene there. And as you just mentioned, Phil, we know here in Grady Hospital, which is another trauma 1 level facility, that one of the victims from this shooting is being transferred over here, to the local hospital in Atlanta. Again, still an active scene, multiple law enforcement agencies on the scene there, including the FBI. they put a social media post out just a short time ago saying that they're helping local law enforcement agencies there with the situation. It is still very active, though. Parents still picking up students. It was within the last hour that the school system there in Barrow County notified parents of those students that they were allowed to be picked up from the school. And just the aerial video that we saw, Phil, is just chilling and sobering as a parent to see those images reminiscent of past school shootings, places like Columbine, where we saw masses of students out, really trying to get information. And it's those uncertain moments where we don't know the details. We don't know if the shooter is still on the loose. That really is.
You see, they're bringing somebody out on a stretcher right now. If you saw that.
A sigh of relief, sort of, for the community there that's dealing with this, but still very much so a terrifying situation with school just weeks underway.
Oh. Guys, this is just too much. Because, I have kids, but my kids have never been in a situation like this. They have never been in a situation where they would have to, they never been in a school pow or anything like that. Thank you for being here, Rob. Thank you for being here. We was going live from Georgia, where there's been a school pow. So I've been shooting, casting live from several different, from CBS News, 24/7, and then CNN News in Atlanta. So, and then one other news outlet I did cast from there. So we trying to keep up with what's going on. And thank you for coming into the Pink House. Make sure y'all hit that like button coming in. And if you have never subscribed to the channel, please do so. But what I need y'all to do would help me out a great deal. Remember my second channel I told you all about, Pink Global? I am live at that channel, also is being cast live. So I got them both going live at the same time, okay? With this information about the school pow. So can you mosey over there, but you can stay here and hit subscribe on there for me. I just need about 5 or 6 people that hit the subscribe. And then when this is all over, go ahead and watch a movie. Not a movie, a video. They're still talking on CNN. I'm going to cast it back because I'm seeing it on my TV. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your pink wave. I love it. Also, Robert saying hello to everybody in the chat as well. This is too much. Let me go ahead and cast live.
Morning in Winder, Georgia, 45 minutes northeast of Atlanta, and that shooting was later verified. We don't know exactly how many victims there were on the scene, but very early on, a source at the local hospital who was unauthorized to speak to the media but had knowledge of the situation told me that Piedmont Regional Hospital in the Athens-Clarke County area, Trauma 1 hospital, the largest in North Georgia, was receiving gunshot victims from this shooting scene. And we saw this all sort of unfold in front of our eyes, a very fluid scene. Students out there on the track and field at one point forming a prayer circle, it seemed, from the aerial view. We saw at least one medical helicopter transporting one victim from the scene there. And as you just mentioned, Phil, we know here in Grady Hospital, which is another trauma 1 level facility, that one of the victims from this shooting is being transferred over here, to the local hospital in Atlanta. Again, still an active scene, multiple law enforcement agencies on the scene there, including the FBI. They put a social media post out just a short time ago saying that they're helping local law enforcement agencies there with the situation. It is still very active, though. Parents still picking up students. It was within the last hour that the school system there in Barrow County notified parents of those students that they were allowed to be picked up from the school. And just the aerial video that we saw, Phil, is just chilling and sobering as a parent to see those images reminiscent of past school shootings, places like Columbine, where we saw masses of students out, really trying to get information. And it's those uncertain moments where we don't know the details. We don't know if the shooter is still on the loose. That really is terrifying. That's not the case right now. We know that one suspect is in custody, so it seems to be at least there's a remedy in that, a sigh of relief, sort of, for the community there that's dealing with this, but still very much so a terrifying situation with school just weeks underway.
Yeah, that is true. School is just weeks underway. Some students only been in school maybe what, 2 weeks, 3 the most, and you got a school pow going on right now. That's crazy. That's crazy. You shouldn't have that going on right now. Some people just don't learn. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Well, guys, make sure, I'm just trying to make sure I covered it all. Make sure, and I feel sad. I feel saddened that this is going on. When are we going to grow away from this? When is this going to stop happening? That you cannot send your kids. They can't even go to school for the first few weeks or a week or two and get all their assignments, make sure they got all their books together. They can't even firstly get started, learn their schedule first. Some of them are still trying to figure out where they need to go and which direction this class is, and trying to figure out to make sure they can get from one class to the other on time, because their school just started. And you don't have school just starting and this happens. You see what I'm saying? School don't just start, and then before school start, you got a lot of mess going on. That doesn't make any sense to me. No sense at all. Can a child go to school without being fearing for their lives? Can they go to school at all? Let them get to school so they can learn something. You know what I mean? Let them be in school so they can learn first. Everybody don't have to go to school to not learn. Oh my God. Okay, guys, we're not going to be here long. Like I said, we're not going to be here long. All right. Thank you, everybody that showed up. Thank you, everybody that showed up for this live. Thank you, Queen, for being in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. She was the first one that popped in. Yes, she was. Thank you. Sisling Bonnie, thank you for being here as well. Nathan, thank you for showing up. And make sure y'all hit that like button. If you didn't hit it coming in, hit it on your way out. And SC, thank you. And yes, they do need Jesus, and they need those prayers. The families, the ones that was unalive, the ones that didn't make it, they all need to be prayed for. Earth Journey, which is Black Titanic. Thank you, Black Titanic, for being here. And let me know whether anybody that you know was injured or unalive. Let me know, because the school is right down the street from her. We'll pray for, yes, you're right, those poor children. And Bobby, thank you, Bobby, for being here as well. Renita, thank you for coming in and showing support. The network news, thank you. I do appreciate that. And thank you, Aman, for being here as well. This is so sad, Miss Pinky. I know it is. TNT, thank you for being here. Jacqueline Warren, thank you. Lord have mercy. Yes, thank you. Rob, thank you for being here as well. We're going to go ahead and go, guys. But I am just so glad that you all showed up, because I just dropped this live. I had just woke up, and when my husband told me what was going on, so I came mosey myself on in here, because I'm always trying to show what's going on. Yes, I am. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to go over and show you the live from Dalton, the village with Super Mayor. Okay, I'm getting ready to show you that live. So thank you, guys, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye bye. Love you.